Hello there, Surf from17 once again. This is my Evilwest, Evil Difficulty No Healing walkthrough. This is Chapter 16, the grand finale, and it is indeed the final mission of the game. In the previous video I was talking about being ignored by developers, and I'm no stranger to that. Which brings a rather interesting question, which I want to talk about in this video, because this video is literally 2 fights and then the boss fight, and both of the fights are massive. This one is probably the biggest fight in the game. And earlier on, you know when I mentioned, guys, that whenever you're fighting a lot of enemies, take the time to learn them because it'll be really important? This is why I said that. This room has like 30 standard enemies, and then it has, I think, 4 of these shield guys. And then when you do this, you have to take on 3 higher vampires at the same time, and it's all on the same checkpoint. This room is massive. It's massive, and it's obnoxious. But it's big, so you should be fine. This is the perfect proving ground to show you know how to play Evilwest. I quite like this fight as well. It's a bit too long. I think the 3 higher vampires at the end is absurd, but I get the idea, you know? If I could half the HP of those vampires, I'd be okay with it. But talking about developers, so if you didn't see my previous video, guys, I tweeted a video at the devs and they didn't respond, which is fair. It's fine. I don't mind. Previously, I've tweeted to a dev a very similar video, and it was for Mortal Shell a couple of years back. And they did a demo for the game, and I was so excited for that game. I was in super excitement mode that I was doing everything in it. I was completely no-lifing it. Like, I had more time on that demo at that point than I have on this game. And I've already beat this game twice, and I've recorded a walkthrough for it. And we're talking about a demo, guys. I put a ton of time in it. I was obsessed. And the boss in the demo was the enslaved or imprisoned Grisha, or I think that was the name of it. It was this monster with a metal helmet and a bladed arm. And I beat that boss dozens of times. I found all the hitboxes, I found all the cheeky tech, I found a ton of stuff, and I came up with a video where I beat it without rolling, without dodging, without parrying, without blocking, like with no upgrades, a base empty shell, not wearing a shell. I beat it in the most reduced and insane way that it can be done. And I sent it to the devs, and it was like, you know, an absolute decimation of the boss. And I essentially said, I cannot wait for the full game kind of thing. Or like, I just destroyed your boss, guys, can't wait for the game, or whatever. And they didn't say anything. They didn't even like it, or retweet it, or reply. It was just, fuck you, basically. And I'm always curious now, because I'm not the type of person that usually tweets at developers. It's not something I really like to do. But I did it at the time because I wanted a key. And I wanted to get their attention, and I wanted to show them that I'd put the time into their game to do something that they themselves might not have even realised you can do. And I wanted to show that, and that was my intention. It didn't work, but it was my intention. And I've always wondered now afterwards, like, do you think I pissed them off? Do you think I bugged them that I did that to their monster? Because it's one of those weird things, isn't it? There might be no reason. Maybe they were so busy they never saw it. Maybe that I sent it to the wrong channel. Maybe I sent it to a place where someone screens it and they deemed it not worthy of attention. You know, there could be a million reasons. Maybe they saw it and they didn't like it. You know, I don't really know. But one of the things that stands out to me in my like hypothetical brain is the idea that they watched it and it pissed them off. Like, it annoyed them that you could do that to this boss they'd designed. Like, imagine you spend a year designing a boss to be really challenging and really cool and really interactive and really interesting, and then somebody just comes along with none of the tools you intended them to use and embarrasses what you've made. Like, do you think in that moment they're like, oh my god, you fucking arsehole, why would you do this? Because I am genuinely curious. And again, you know, to put myself in the story like a classic boogie would, I, as a developer, if I make something, and I have made things in the past, nothing crazy, but I've worked on a game before, my own game. Like, if I were to make something and you came up with something really creative to circumvent it, I can't imagine a world where I don't kind of go, Jesus Christ, dude, you're a monster, this is cool as hell. Because to me, that's the whole point, right? You make a game, it's a toy box. It's a toy box for your consumer to play with. So I can't ever imagine looking at something and going, oh wow, that sucks. Like, I can understand a developer getting mad at a review. Like, you put your heart and soul into a game, and then a reviewer comes along and is like, oh, it's boring and dated, and look at this, you can't even jump over a 2-inch gap. Like, I can imagine that gets people really salty and really annoyed, because they have every right to be annoyed. It's easy to say that you should take, you know, criticisms with grace, but it's difficult to do because there's a lot of love and a lot of heart that's gone into it. But at the same time, I can't ever imagine seeing somebody do something impressive with something I've made, and then immediately my first response being like, oh, that's terrible or something. You know, like those people that are anti-speedrun? Like, some developers don't like speedrunners for some reason. Like, they don't like them showing, you know, the glitches and the out of bounds, because it almost feels like they haven't done their job, and it affects their ego or something, which I think is strange, because these people, that's what they do, dude. Every game's got holes if you bang on it enough, and they find them and they tear them wide open and show them to people, and people go, oh wow, that's interesting, because I didn't find it. Like, why get sad at people ripping your game apart when 99% of the people that play it aren't going to see that? They're not going to do that. But there goes the first fight, guys. Very intimidating, but quite fun. And there's your checkpoint at the end of it. And now we have to move forward through this awesome looking environment. This is one of my favourite levels in the game. It looks phenomenal. I wish it was longer though, you know? I'm glad that it makes me wish it was longer, because it's a lot better than me wishing it was shorter. But I honestly wish this environment was used more, because you don't do too many interior exploration places in this game. Most of the environments are outside, or in kind of like swamps and stuff. So this is by far... It reminds me of DevilNeverCry 2, you know, when you get to the end near Trismagia, I think it's called, with the shiny floor. It reminds me a little bit of that place, which is one of the only good things about DevilNeverCry 2. And then here is the second fight, guys. Now, this fight is harder than the first fight, I think, just because the room is smaller. The enemies you fight aren't as demanding, but because it's so claustrophobic compared to where we've just been, it's easy to get stuck on the scenery. So be very careful here, as I'm just going to cannonball the living piss out of all of these vampires. And how did you feel about the vampires in the game, guys? Did you think that for a game about vampires there weren't too many? I kind of get the feeling that there weren't too many vampires in this game, and the things they called vampires didn't really look like vampires to me. I also wanted more coffins. I wanted more blood, I wanted more coffins, and I wanted more vampires. But other than that, I like that this is an opera building as well. I think that's fucking cool. Like a crazy opera house with the staging and everything. Reminds me a little bit of DevilNeverCry 5. But then it makes me think of those Angelos on DMD that have horrendous HP pools. But we have two of these big guys with the head cages. And the only thing that's dangerous about this particular part of the fight is if you get flanked by leeches by this monster, or if you get unlucky and you get shockwaved. Because the shockwaves... There's a part of me that wishes there was a button to shut the shockwaves down, but sometimes when you kick them it doesn't interrupt them. So you have to use spacing. Uh-oh. Always good when the camera gets blacked out like that. But look how good Cannonball is, dude. It's such a good move. Look how good the Zapper is. Do you see how busted this is? I'm going to keep an eagle eye out on what the devs do about Zapper, because if they leave it like this, it's going to be interesting. Look at the iframes on that as well. Beautiful. That's how you know they thought about this game. That doesn't happen by accident. Because if you do that at any other timing, you'll get hit. Those iframes are designed for you to be able to use them like that. And if you ask me, it's very clever. It reminds me of Resident Evil as well. Now that, just then, I don't like that so much. I don't agree with shockwaves going through enemies. I think that's fucking stupid. However, I understand it, you know? Video games do that. It's not the first time I've seen it. It won't be the last. Parrying this guy's a pain in the ass too, especially when he does that. Because you can't stop that seemingly. Or I haven't figured out how yet. Maybe if you put the flamethrower on, or if you put the Gatling gun on, you can interrupt him. That would be quite tricky though, because it takes Jesse a while to put those guns on. It's one of the reasons why launching people into flamethrower is so difficult to do, because he really doesn't want to pull it out quickly. And it's a balance conceit for how strong it is, but like, watch your community play this game. No one uses it. No one's using flamethrower. Flamethrower is being completely slept on, even by good players. And if you're watching this video, guys, and you're not using the flamethrower, you should. And now we have the final boss. So I hope you're ready for some hitbox pornography, ladies and gentlemen, because I've got some really fun tricks to show you on this one. Definitely some of the more interesting techniques. That move right there is really difficult to walk around, so be very careful. This right here can be kicked, make sure you kick it. This can be walked around. This entire boss's arsenal can be walked around. This can be walked under. And then there's a little thing that the boss does where it like snakes around, and that tells you it wants to do this skate move later on, but it doesn't do it in the first phase. So the first phase is just, why does this boss have so much HP? The phase. And we're just going to combine our tools here. And I wanted to show you that you don't have to use any of your resources to beat this phase. You can just use your standard moves, you can just punch it and stun it, use your gun, and be very effective. We're also going to be using the super mode to speed it up a bit because it is boring. But the second phase is the hardest phase and the most demanding because it has the most you have to do. The third phase is gimmicky as fuck and it's really odd, but it's not too bad. The bomb is really good here as well. If you can get that bomb, you can do a lot of damage. But just keep circling, keep hitting. There's the grab, see you later. And then shortly, we should be able to get to the cutscene in a moment. There's the kick. One more and we'll get our superpower back. There's the slam. There you go, there's the grab. She's going to do the red one now. Oh, I got the stun because of the yellow bar. So that was useful. That should do way more damage, dude. And here we go, second phase. Second phase is hard. And it's hard because the hitboxes are shit. And the grab changes so you can no longer walk under it. But at the very beginning, she always jumps. So if you run towards her, she misses you and you can start beating up. And what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to potentially pull out my flamethrower and pull out my Gatling gun. That move right there, see that? There's a manipulation here, guys, on this move. If you move away from it, the boss will jump and then it will do this slide attack. And if you do that, you can guarantee the slide attack doesn't start too close. If that move starts when you're near it, even if you dodge, you'll take damage because it has a massive hitbox for some reason. So, if you get too close to that transition move where she slides, or the pre-slide move that she does to telegraph it's coming, you can get grabbed, because this boss really likes to grab coming out of it. But shoot the weak points on the wall, and then as it lands, activate your supercharge. It gives you an iframe so you don't get hit, and then you're going to go back into the same pattern you just did. So attack this boss a ton. If you want to speed this up, use the flamethrower. The flamethrower is really good on this sequence here. And right now, see me move away, she's going to jump, and now she's going to skate. This happens every time, and it's the safest way to make sure you can dodge this move without getting in a problem with it. And right there, blood is on my screen, and I did not get hit. And I don't understand it. Game is fucking weird. But stunner, puncher, and keep your cross for anything you can't deal with. The cross is really good at shutting down a move that's too quick to dodge. But I'm going to keep punching. I'm going to keep dodging, building stun. There, look, that right there. See that? That is too close to dodge that move effectively without taking damage. That's the reason I use the cross. That's the only time I would say use it. If she gives you the bullshit where she just does it quickly like that, it's a reset if you're going for no damage. Right now, jump. Oh, she's going on the wall. So now you've got to do 3 weak points. Watch out for the circles at your feet. The circles always spawn at your feet and then they spawn around the room. And then when she jumps to the second one, 3 more weak points and then she'll always jump for you. The final jump in this sequence always feels like she comes off the wall quicker, so activate a bit sooner than you'd like. And you'll be okay here. So I activate, boom, as soon as she moves. And then right now I'm going to use the projectile and I'm going to back away because sometimes she grabs you coming out of this and you can't do anything about it. Just then, she did the skate. That's another move that's really difficult when you're not invincible. And now she's weak, I'm going to hit her with potentially flamethrower and she's going to come towards me now and try and punch me. And it's back to the original routine here. But I'd no longer have the cross just in case she does the slide when I'm close. And that's the only thing she can do that's a problem. And hopefully we're about to hit the threshold here for the next phase. This bomb should put us over. And that manipulation just then, guys, is intentional to bait the grab. The more you fight that boss, the more you'll feel for when she does things, and you'll know when to move out to get them to happen so you don't have to dodge them. But this here is really strange. This turns into like a fucking Monster Hunter fight of waiting for it to do 3 things and then punishing it. And at the start, she does the same thing. Ground slam, then weak point in the face. Then after this, if you wait, as she jumps, run forward. If you run forward too soon, you'll get hit. Then as she recovers, she raises back up, shoot her again, and then now she'll bang the ground and debris will fall around you. So get a few hits in, and now position yourself so that you don't take any damage from these halos of impact. And this phase is weird, because the boss is going to throw 5 projectiles at you, and this debris will block 3. And this projectile is fast, and it has big radius. So you have to dodge it a bit earlier than you want, and then finally the weak point, and you'll stun her. And afterwards, she'll jump. Same strategy. Run towards her, and then when she lands, she'll do a ground slam here. So boom, boom, and then the final one with the face, and then she's stunned. And then now she'll jump, and when she lands, she'll do the same ground slam she did before. And then after this, she goes directly into throwing shit at you. There's no recovery this time. She just does it immediately, right there. So again, 5 of these have to be dodged. You can use your Superman mode if you can't roll them, like I did just then. And then you can use this to just get some quick damage. And then again, it will. And this move right here, use the cross. That is a massive area of effect, and you can shut it down by stopping it. And then you get this nice execution here that does some decent damage. And move away from this because she always bangs the ground. Right there. You have to move away or the dodge gets harder. And then stop it on the third one. And then right now she's going to jump. Wait for the jump and sprint towards her. Turn around. Same thing again, guys. Keep on shooting. Get the stuns. This is the tantrum. Now, this is the original tantrum where the debris falls and the circle of fire is everywhere so that you can see where objects are landing. And hopefully you've done enough damage here that there's not too much left, but she takes no damage. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, guys. Maybe I've not understood how this fight works, but I couldn't figure out how to hurt this boss. It just feels like the HP is just ludicrous. There's the jump. Run towards it. Watch the face. You know it's coming. Oh no, it didn't do it. There you go. 1, 2, face. And that's it. That's the end of the fight. That's the end of the guide, guys. Thank you for watching. And you take care now.